All right, Euro USD weekly breakdown for the week ending on the 19th of April 2024. So basically coming into this one, welcome to another video recapping the week just gone. Big thing for this week was really just coming into, we were positioned quite terribly in terms of not having a whole lot of structure due to the big melt that we had from the week prior. So coming into Monday, we were in a bit of an awkward spot. So for our Asia session, we just slowly started to creep our way up. With over to left, us not having a whole lot in terms of structural points to be able to take trades from and induced. We were looking good coming into Frankfurt with the take of this high, leading us to be up here. But then we just got that immediate sell-off. So we were looking for an entry out of there, but nothing was able to provide. And then by the time London opened down here, didn't have anything to take from Asia that was important that allowed us to be able to look for a trade. And we didn't really have the room to be able to come straight back up and take that, as we hadn't taken enough liquidity to fill that move up there straight away. So put us in an awkward spot. And as you can see, when we get things like not enough liquidity taken or structure moving the way that we need it to be able to come into the session to be able to catch a trade, we generally just get that really choppy price action as we see basically throughout the whole of the London session. Did get an influx pre-New York and at New York Open. Unfortunately, again, when it came time to our window, we didn't have anything in the area for us to be able to take. We were looking for the take of this low as this was starting to melt, but unfortunately price fell a little bit short, so couldn't get an open New York Open trade or anything during the session, as we were just sitting more or less in between this point. So made it quite tricky to be able to do anything with that. So no trades for that session. Moving on to Tuesday, same story. When we have London open in areas where it's just very mid-range of our structural points and of the Asia session, it makes it very, very difficult to be able to actually pick a bias that's going to be strong enough. Yes, we can understand, okay, cool, price is potentially looking to come and, take out some of these higher points, take out some of the liquidity that we've got sitting here, but a trend line that we've got running down across the top between these points through here. But it makes it really difficult when we don't have the structural points needed, or the session opens in an area where we can't really take too much in the way of A+ setups from. So a lot of sitting on our hands and waiting throughout the start of the week. Leading into New York on Tuesday later on in that session. So obviously we had, again, take the high. It looked really good, had those relative equal highs. Was just a little bit early. We were looking for trades out of here, which were shaping up really, really nicely, but unfortunately no entry was provided. Price took that high and just melted. From there, leading into our session, we were midway throughout the melt, and then price just sort of danced around a little bit. Didn't have a whole lot of resting liquidity to be able to target. So we sort of had price more or less just sitting in the one area, not doing a whole lot of movement. Now, Wednesday for London was a little bit more or less the same story. Nothing significant taken. That was the high we wanted gone. We were looking at ideally that, but we were happy to take that as our inducement. If price had have pushed up, then allowed us to have an entry model play out and to be able to take that sell back down. Didn't present in New York, in London. However, for New York, we did have price starting to step up really, really nicely. So looking at where price was positioned, we were targeting some of these higher points. So knowing that buyers were as our bias for the session, price did a little inducement of these relative equal highs beforehand, came down to induce this low, gave a very, very clean entry model on the 1 minute time frame sitting after that inducement to then allow a buy up. Not the greatest follow through. Price only ran 1 to 6, and then you would have came back down and got caught at break even, or your stop loss if you didn't move to break even before continuing. So bias was right, just unfortunately very small amount of follow through on that trade. The rest of the week, GU was the pair to watch. Not a whole lot going on. Price had taken really good points, but again, we were just finding ourselves opening in very awkward areas. New York, again, when we get big moves like this, we have structural points here that sit beneath Asia. So, sort of writes off that whole area. everything was opening and just sitting in a very, very difficult position for EU to be able to capitalize on it. And this just happens sometimes when you're looking at a couple of different pairs. You'll find that some weeks EU might look a lot better in terms of what it's doing, where it's opening, the structural points that we can look to take, the liquidity that's sitting there and what we can use. And then some weeks that'll be for GU. So this week was one of those weeks where GU was the pair to be watching. Had some very, very clean setups later on in the week, whereas EU just didn't have a whole lot of structure to be able to utilize, or if it did have structure, it was taking it outside of the sessions, so it wasn't able to be capitalized on to be able to take those trades. When we're looking at these points here that are sort of mid between London and our New York window, or edging closer to New York open, it just doesn't usually have a whole lot of volume. So you can find those setups just aren't the greatest to be in. Did get that movement, which was really clean. We were looking very nice for Friday coming into here. Had our IFC sitting up the top of here. Had our inducements, which were looking really clean. We had our targets. It was very, very nice in terms of what price was doing, but no entry model was provided inside of there on the 1 minute time frame. If you go down into it, you can see that as price came into that area, it just tapped and went. So durably sort of price action, no reason to be getting into a trade in here. Nothing A+ in terms of setup out of this area. GU did provide an absolutely A+ entry twice, which we were able to get into the first one. Yeah, but this just nothing really for EU to be capitalized on. So slow week, only the one trade, but that's okay. Anytime you're sort of looking at these pairs and using a couple of pairs, if you're actually looking for A+ setups, there's not going to be trade every single day. And that's something as traders we need to understand, we need to be okay with, and we need to be happy with is if it doesn't set up and doesn't move the way that we want price to move, that's fine. And if it doesn't give us too many setups and only gives us a 1 or 2 setups in the week on that one pair, that's also fine. We need to understand we can't force the market to do what we want the market to do. We need to move with the opportunities that price presents. And at the moment, when we're working with price that is just very, very aggressive and is giving us just such large pushes, it is going to be less in terms of opportunities that present within the market. So you need to be okay with that. You need to understand that and just work with the price action that price is giving you. So hope everyone had a great week trading. Looking forward to the week ahead. Got some really good opportunities. This price is starting to present us with more structure. Start of the week should be really good. So looking forward to what presents. Have a good week, guys. See you all next time.